Hi everyone, welcome to the Bourbon Obsessed New Bourbon Releases News Podcast, your commercial-free and therefore money-free bourbon podcast for Monday, November 3rd. I am Ed, and this week I am joined by my usual co-host, friend, and bourbon aficionado, Dean Langdon. Dean, how are you doing today?
Doing wonderful this morning, Ed. It is morning, so I'm going to stumble over my words right out of the gate. But yeah, it's been a great week. Didn't do a whole lot of bourbon events, but had an interesting tasting at a friend's house last night, like yours. And we'll talk about that, I'm sure, at some point during the podcast. So.
We will. And I can't help but notice that nice mug that you have.
How about that?
Why don't you show our viewers at home?
You know, you can get a bourbon-obsessed mug to go along with our hats, and there's probably other swag out there. You know, you just have to dig for it, folks.
Well, you don't have to dig far. You just have to go to bourbonobsessed.com and click on the shop button. And there it is.
Right.
All right, well, we've got quite a bit of new releases. I would have thought these would have died down a bit by now, but this may be one of our longest ones yet.
There's a lot, but a lot of it is whiskey rather than bourbon. I noticed looking through these. So,
yeah,
you know, that's an interesting take. We're getting into some single malt experimentation and things like that. So, but you know, it's all about the world of whiskey. We can't limit ourselves to just bourbon with what we do.
Oh, my wife would like us to. Me too. I guess she doesn't care what you do.
We need to get a whiskey obsessed hat.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We could be obsessed with a lot of things. Just
those are different podcasts, folks. Just
need a bigger wallet.
Right.
All right. So we should dive right in. So we'll start with Lost Lantern introduces their fall 2025 collection titled the Scotch Lovers Collection, a special release of 7 American single malts, 5 single casks, and 2 blends designed to appeal to fans of traditional Scotch whiskey. This collection, the first from Lost Lantern composed entirely of single and blended malts, showcases the diversity and growing maturity of American single malt. All expressions are non-chill filtered with no added color. And we'll just say a few brief words about them. If you do want to read more, you can go onto my website and just search for Lost Lantern, and you'll find the full detailed descriptions of all of these in a document that's on there. So the first is American Vatted Malt Remax. That's a new edition of the blend that launched Lost Lantern, made from 11 single malt distilleries across 8 states. It's the widest ranging blend of American single malts ever created. It's always dangerous to say things like that, but
right.
They did. Right. A symbolic bridge between Scotland's vatted malt tradition and America's emerging style. It's 110.7 proof and $100. Next is American Vatted Malt Reissue. It's a revival of Lost Lantern's original 2020 blend, featuring 6 pioneering distilleries: Balcones Copperworks, which we talked about last week because I was there.
That's right.
Santa Fe Spirits, 888, Westward, and Virginia Distillery Company. And that's bottled at 105 proof and priced at $90. Next is Warfield Idaho Single Malt, the first Idaho release from Lost Lantern, and the first cask strength release from Warfield Distillery, made in traditional Forsyth Scottish pot stills at a certified organic distillery. This whiskey is compared in style to Speyside and Lowland Scotch, and that's at 135.4 proof, so they're not fooling around when they did their first cask strength release.
It's going to have some heat to it.
Yeah, and that's $100. Next are 3 from 888, and that's that distillery in Nantucket that we've talked about before on the show. The first is their peated Massachusetts single malt. That's the first ever peated release from Nantucket's 888 distillery, aged for 6 years and 6 months. Peated malt was sourced from Scotland and aged in the island's maritime climate, and this is said to be closest in style to the Scottish Islands region whiskies. It's bottled at 115.9 proof and priced at $120. Next is 888's Massachusetts single malt 10-year-old, a rare decade-aged single malt showcasing the distillery's patient, maritime-influenced aging. It's said to be closest in style to long-aged Speyside and Highlands whiskeys, and it's at 124.2 proof and priced at $150. And the last from 888 is their Sauterne cask-aged Massachusetts single malt 11-year-old, fully matured in French Sauternes casks. It's Lost Lantern's oldest release to date. It's closest in style to a Highland Scotch, they say. And that's proofed at 120.9 and priced at $180. And then the last in the series is McCarthy's Peated Oregon Single Malt 10-year-old. There's a lot of older whiskeys in this.
Exactly, right.
The first 10-year-old whiskey from McCarthy's. It's heavily peated and aged a decade in Oregon oak. It's closest in style to Isla's Scotch, and it's at 118.6 proof and priced at $115. And it's going to be available starting on Wednesday, November 12th, so that's, a week and a half or so
right.
from now. And you can go to lostlantern.com, and it'll also be on Sealbox and at select retailers and at the Lost Lantern Tasting Room, which would be a cool place to go to, I think.
Yeah,
but
sounds like it.
That's in Vermont.
Right. A little bit of a drive. So
yeah.
I think it's interesting that we've got several single malts here that are a decade old or older, but we just recognized that designation, officially last year. And so it's interesting that there's requirements to that, right? You can't just call it a single malt. You've got, just like a bourbon, it's got to meet certain requirements, and I'm not going to recite those because I haven't memorized them.
Actually,
these people have been doing this now for 10, 12 years. I think what, 888 goes back, or Lost Lantern goes back to 2000. One of these distilleries went all the way back to 2000. Maybe it's Virginia Distillery Company.
But actually, until it was defined as a style, I think you could use those terms because they weren't defined in America. That was the problem.
Right.
So that was one of the reasons for defining the style, because if you say single malt in Ireland and Scotland, it's got defined in writing what it has to be, whereas it was not defined here as far as I know. So that was the whole point, because American single malts couldn't stand on their own elsewhere in the world because people didn't know exactly what they were getting.
Yeah.
So not to say that anybody's doing any funny business in these older ones,
right?
But just to clarify what I believe.
I wonder
is the law.
Because if they don't meet the requirements, are you grandfathered in?
Yes.
Right? Or else there's a whole bunch of whiskey out there that's nameless and faceless.
No, they were grandfathered in, and I think when it was originally passed, they had like a year and a half to do things that match the label or change the labels or.
Good.
I can't remember. I mean, it's been like a year now.
It's been a year almost, yeah. I think it was December.
You expect me to remember way back? I don't even remember what I had for breakfast.
One of the things I saw in looking through some of these at the Virginia Distillery Company website, it'll kick you over to something called the American Single Malt Academy. So just like, you can get a bourbon stewardship, there's classes where you can learn more about bourbon. They've started that now for single malt. I couldn't tell if it was just online or if it was in person, but I think that's a great concept, and I hope that works for them, and they, can grow the group of people who know more about American single malts. So
that sounds vaguely familiar. I think I came across that somewhere along the line. Yeah, we should do it and learn more about American single malt.
Yeah, I agree.
And become world-renowned authorities.
I'm afraid American Single Malt Obsessed doesn't have the same same catchiness to it as
I have enough time saying the Bourbon Obsessed.
Right.
Don't need to add any more syllables.
We have another whiskey next, I understand.
We do. So next is Whiskey JYPSI Legacy Batch 3, The Declaration. It's the third release in the brand's Legacy series and commemorates the upcoming 250th anniversary of American independence. This expression reinterprets a traditional Maryland-style rye whiskey using a modern blend, 60% 8 to 12-year-old 95.5 rye from Indiana, finished in apple brandy barrels from Mount Vernon Distillery, 30% 20 to 25-year-old Canadian corn whiskey, rebarreled in New American Oak for 2.5 years, and 10% 8-year-old American single malt from Virginia. They're not more specific, but I wonder if that's the distillery we were just talking about.
You would think so, yes.
Bottled at 57.87 ABV, 115.74 proof, with a suggested retail price of around $200. The Declaration is available in limited quantities at select retailers and online.
I appreciate the creativity of how they crafted this, right? And I think, and that's what they're using as a selling point. It's got to be an MGP rye, right? Let's be honest, at 95.5 Indiana. But finished in apple brandy. I mean, that's an interesting take on that.
Well, and from Mount Vernon to make it a distillery to give it to go with the Declaration of Independence days. Yeah.
But then there's some Canadian corn whiskey, so I don't know how that got into an American celebratory whiskey.
Well, it got rebarreled in.
Well, that's it, right? Rebarreled in American.
Yeah, otherwise it is sort of an interesting touch. But,
yeah, I think it's creative blend, and I'm sure they've got a good reputation, so I'm sure it's good juice, but an interesting way. I like the way the brains are thinking there about how to put these things together.
Yeah,
so.
No, it definitely sounds like a nice blend.
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing more and more. Well, we just talked about a bunch of single barrels, which is good too, but we are seeing a lot more of these creative blending using other. A blend of different distilleries, which actually Lost Lantern, of course, does as well.
They're known for. So, all right.
It's
and I think we'll see more of that. There's plenty of juice on the market to work with, and so.
Well, in other parts of the world, have been doing it for a long time.
Right.
And it was just took a while to become a thing here.
That's right. I agree.
So. All right. Next is Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Special Release Tanyard Hill Rye. It's the 2025 entry in the distillery's annual limited edition special release series. Aged since November 2015 in Barrel House 1 on Tanyard Hill, adjacent to Coy Hill, this barrel-proof Tennessee rye whiskey is made from a mash bill of 70% rye, 18% corn, and 12% malted barley, and charcoal filtered prior to maturation. Proof ranges from 130.2 to 148.8 proof, and bottles will be available in 700 milliliter format nationwide in limited quantities for around $80 now.
I really am going to start looking for one of these because I like the way, that's a really high proof if you get at the higher end of that. It'd be interesting to see what that feels like and tastes like. Great price point.
Yeah.
And we know from the Coy Hill products that, if this is an adjacent rickhouse or warehouse, and that just speaks well, that's probably going to enhance the chances of having just a lovely rye. And I like just Jack Daniel's Bottled-in-Bond Rye is a great product, I think.
Well, and the barrel proof ryes have been fantastic too. I mean, that first one came out as a limited release, like during COVID, I think 2020, the first one, and then now it's a standard offering in their line. And those are fantastic. I mean, it'd be interesting to compare.
It would,
too.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Like all of these Jack Daniel's special releases, they are very challenging to find in Kentucky. So,
and they don't say. I mean, it's clearly more than one barrel because they got the varying proof points, but they don't tell us how many barrels of this there are. And I'd like to know that so I have some sense of whether I'm wasting my time looking for it or not.
Well, if you go to Tennessee, you probably have a better chance, or Texas or somewhere.
Yeah.
But Kentucky, we don't do great with finding these.
No.
All right, next is Hardin's Creek from the James B. Beam Distilling Company. They've released their limited edition Warehouse series, a trio of 11-year-old bourbons that explore how warehouse environments affect maturation. Each expression, and they are Warehouse R, the mushroom, Warehouse W, the beaver, and Warehouse G, the owl, share the same mash bill and age, but were aged in a distinct rickhouse, and unique structural environment with unique structural and environmental traits. Bottled at 110 proof and priced at around $150 per 700 milliliter bottle, the Warehouse series is now available in select markets. And this is interesting because we saw these all at the Kentucky Bourbon Festival 2 months ago.
Yeah. And I mean, original artwork on the labels by a guy named Max Leffler, which is pretty neat, I thought. The rickhouses, the first one is a single story. The middle one, Warehouse W, is a 5-story, and then the warehouse, the last one is a 9-story rickhouse. And so I like the thought process again of do the different rickhouses and the different levels truly make a difference, and I'm sure they do. I don't know that I'm going to come up with $450 to find out how.
Well, I've already come up with $900 because we have 2 sets of them.
Next time I'm at the distillery, I'll go to the kitchen, right? And I'm sure they'll have it behind the bar. And for much less than $450, I'll be able to sample those 3 and compare them. And that's, I think, the way to do it. If you really fall in love with them, then you can get them at the distillery.
Well, so, a couple of. So, you could. They were actually letting you taste these at the KBF. I mean, and they were set up very well because you didn't have to get tangled up in the gigantic line for knob 21 and stuff. They had the tasting area that was sort of set up to the side.
Up front.
Yeah, so you could just go in there. I mean, they only had one at a time, and honestly, I didn't even know these were coming then, so I was very surprised to
I missed that completely at KVF. So.
But they sold it. That's where I bought one of the sets, because I bought it there. And then I don't know where the other one came from. Total Wine, I think.
Yeah.
But so I've tried them all, but not together.
Not together, right? Yeah. Yeah, and that's obviously what, that's what Freddie did, right? So
yeah,
that would be the interesting thing to do, to really see if you can tell
we need to do it.
The difference, because it's the same mash bill, and you would think it's going to be a subtle difference. They should all be roughly the same age, same, like you say, same mash bill. So
yeah,
does it really make a difference where they are in the rickhouse? And I think we know that it does, but how much?
I suspect a lot. I mean, did you try the, because this is the second time they've done something like that. They had the 3-bottled set where
from the different,
they were exactly the same
but different,
everything, but one was aged in Claremont, one was aged in Frankfurt,
and the other was in Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you try those?
I did not have not tried those together. In other words, I haven't tried them to see, okay, well, here's what's different. I'm not sure my palate is that discerning.
They were different. You can tell them.
Yeah.
But what they did with that, which I'm wondering if they will do with this, was so they originally released those as the bottles, the full size. I can't remember if they were 750s back then.
I think they were.
Probably were.
Yes. Yeah.
So they released those, but then for the holidays, they released the 200 milliliter bottles in like a square set, so you could buy all three at once. So that, to me, is the best way to do these, because that's still going to be like probably $150, but at least you get to try them all.
That's right.
Instead of having to spend the $450 to buy the entire, and that's if you can find them at retail. Though these tend to not. I don't know. I find that people don't know the Hardin's Creek line for the most part, so they don't tend to get marked up.
Yeah.
But so you in fact, they were sitting. I think when we bought them in Total Wine, they had the three of them. Someone bought one of them, clearly not recognizing that they were a set. And the other two sat there. I think we came there the second day. They had still been sitting out, and that's when we bought them. So people definitely do not grab them.
See it that way, right? Yeah.
But it's a very cool set, and for people that like comparing to see the differences, I'm sure there's going to be a pretty good difference. I mean, we'll crack those one day, and we can compare them side by side.
That sounds good. We'll look forward to that.
Alrighty, so now moving on to another one from Beam. The James B. Beam Distilling Company has introduced Knob Creek 21-year-old bourbon, the oldest expression in the brand's history. Aged for 21 years in Kentucky rack houses and hand-selected for balance and complexity, this 100 proof limited edition release comes in a keepsake box and will be available nationwide for a suggested retail price of $250 for a 750 milliliter bottle.
I love Knob Creek products. If it was anybody except Jim Beam, any distillery except Jim Beam, I would be leery of the age statement, because you can have a bourbon become too old, right?
Oh, yeah.
It can be very over oaked and tannic and char, but I'm sure they've quality controlled this, so it's going to be a wonderful product. I looked at the tasting notes on the website, and it sounds, like all tasting notes, it sounds great. But I think we've got a friend who's got a bottle of this, and we'll have to impose on them to sample it with us.
I have a bottle of this, but I haven't opened it.
Consider yourself imposed upon.
But it's and people, like they always will complain about the 100 proof. But I mean, generally when you get to this age, if you proof them much higher, you have to have a very special whiskey that's not going to be just like a tannic, oaky.
It's going to taste like you're drinking a tree.
Yeah.
Right.
So I suspect 100 proof. I mean, we know that's standard Knob Creek proof. And obviously it lets them get more from the barrels, because we know there probably wasn't too much in them at 21 years old. So there's economic reasons for doing this. But I assume it played a role in the taste. I mean, they had to taste them at barrel proof when they picked them. So
they had to. So
which was probably pretty high.
Yeah. And you would think these were probably lower floors of the warehouses, right? I mean, if you're going to age something that long, you don't put it up at the top. So it's a good gift idea, and that they plug that on their website too. It's like perfect holiday gift,
Well, it is $250, so it's not an inexpensive bottle.
No, it's a little pricey,
but for the $10 a year rule, it's really not.
It's not out of line.
No,
right? And it's $750, so you're not, not getting downsized on the bottle size. So.
That's right. Now that the many bottles are $700, I guess it goes down to $9 a year.
There you go. That's right. Right. It should. I don't think it's going.
Well, of course it's not. The prices don't change.
No, they only go up, right? They only go up.
But yeah, interesting. So. Yeah, I mean, like all these, though, even though 100 proof may be its best proof, you certainly would. We're always interested in
try it.
Yes.
Yeah. Even at 120, it'd be interesting because a lot of the Knob Creek stuff comes out at 120 also. So,
but they never released these age-stated ones at that. They've only released they did the 12-year at a barrel strength once.
Yeah.
But otherwise, the 12, 15, 18, yeah.
It'd be interesting to do a vertical, right? You can do the what? They start with an 8. There's at least 12, 15.
Well, 9's the standard.
21 now. Yeah. So that's a nice tasting panel there. You can see how it ages. So.
Huh. All right, moving on. So Ross and Squibb Distillery has announced the return of Remus Gatsby Reserve with the 2025 edition, a limited 15-year-old straight bourbon bottled at 102.8 proof. This release honors the 100th anniversary of the Great Gatsby and is crafted using Ross & Squibb's historic 21% rye bourbon mash bill. The 2025 edition features specially selected barrels blended by master distiller Ian Sturzman and is presented in an Art Deco-inspired bottle and decorative clamshell box. Its suggested retail price is around $200 for a 750 milliliter bottle, and limited quantities will be available nationwide. Well, they're supposed to be already, beginning now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is something else I'll keep my eye out for. It's a beautiful presentation. We know what it is. It's MGP juice. I was a little confused on the website because it said a 2 mash bill blend. And so are they using both the 36% and the 21%? Because this leads me to believe it's all the 36%. I'm sure when you get the bottle, it'll tell you that. They call it a cast strength on the bottle, and 102, 103 proof is a little bit low for cast strength. But
well, we just had an 84 proof cast strength last night.
Yeah, you never know, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, and they've got a wide selection of warehouses too, and with different construction. So I suppose their proofs can do all sorts of things.
I'm sure they can.
I'm trying to think if I've had really lower proof older from MGP.
Yeah,
I feel like we have somewhere.
I'm sure we have too someplace. I can't think where it would be, but I mean it is so pervasive, in the industry.
Hard not to come across it.
Right, that's right. So, but yeah, you're seeing more and more, older age statements on some of their juice. Some people got older stuff quite some time ago and have done very well with it.
Oh yeah, back in the day.
Yeah. So. Well, and next week we'll probably talk about MGP earnings, but we're not going to go there today. So,
well, we got a lot of people's earnings to talk about next week, but
that's right.
Today we're talking about the happy world of new releases. Right. So moving on. So this next one's actually interesting, and I know that you and I both buy all these new Riff things. I didn't buy this one.
Didn't you?
Did you?
I got 2 bottles.
Okay, good. We'll try yours.
Yeah, there you go. We can. That's it. So
I just have to draw the line. I mean, I've bought every single one since they've started, and these things can't go on forever.
Right. No, we run out of storage space. We run out of money. We run out of the ability to drink it. So
there's just a limit. So I actually, the day is young. I can still wind up buying them because they are a cool.
Well, the new Riff one sold out. I checked this morning. Yeah, so it's gone.
Well, the Chattanooga one's a rolling release, but they're anyway. So we will stop keeping everybody in suspense, and we will tell you. So Chattanooga Whiskey and New Riff Distilling have collaborated on the Confluence Project, Volume 1, a straight wheat whiskey built from the same 100% wheat recipe, 60% red turkey wheat, 24% Appalachian malted wheat, 8% dark malted wheat, and 8% caramel malted wheat, then independently distilled and aged by each producer to showcase their distinct techniques and philosophies. The friendship behind the project traces back to founding distiller Grant McCracken of Chattanooga and master distiller Brian Sprance of New Riff, who worked together in craft brewing before moving into distilling. In addition, it was Brian who introduced Grant to the Chattanooga team back in 2014. The Chattanooga whiskey release is 11 single barrels, aged 6 years, 6 months, releasing on a rolling basis. The first 2 bottles were available in the experimental distillery on October 30th for around $70, with limited quantities coming soon to Sealbox and to Reserve Bar. And it's bottled at barrel proof, for they didn't give the proofs, and their release is interesting because they used all different barrel types in them, so they're all had other variability to them. The new Riff release is the Kentucky Straight Wheated Whiskey Single Barrels, aged around 6 years and bottled at barrel strength, and they listed it's 116.9 to 122.8 proof. They're also priced around $70, and they were available exclusively to the new Riff Whiskey Club beginning Thursday, with distillery pickup starting on October 31st. Oh, do you have yours?
I do not have mine. No, I just because they just became available Thursday, and again, as I looked at the website under the Whiskey Club this morning, they're sold out. So I'll go get them. Whenever I get up there again. I'm looking forward to trying these. I really want to try it. I want to get the Chattanooga whiskey one also, and of course try them side by side, right? That's what they're meant for that.
Well, they're meant for you buying as many bottles as possible, because the problem is they're all single barrels.
Right.
So you really have to buy 22 bottles.
Well, but it doesn't say how many barrels New Riff had, right?
No, but I assume it's a similar amount.
I would assume so. That's right. Yeah.
So
it's a reasonable price point, $70. For a 6.5-year-old whiskey is a good deal, and it's I like the I want to see what the dark malt and the caramel malt on the barley do to the flavor, because there's enough percentage of those in the mash bill that you're certainly going to taste those. But I'm assuming they're not going to be overpowering either.
Well, and the fact that they're all malted wheated different roasts. I mean, I don't know if Chattanooga's done that at all in the past. I mean, they certainly, they do all their variety of malts, but I don't know. I mean, they must have done some of, or maybe all. I'm assuming this malt must have come from them. I mean, because they're the ones that,
I would think
that
so.
do all
the
the different malts.
New Riff did something called a maltster through the Whiskey Club several years ago. So they've done a little bit of that, but not. That's not their main.
Well, actually, they have their single malt, which has 7 different kinds of. The first release did, and the second release I think had at least 5 or 6 different kinds of single malts in it.
Different malt mash bills.
Yeah, so that's not true. I take that back.
Well, but they don't. I mean, they don't do that as much as Chattanooga does. I mean, you're right. They've done it some.
Yeah, but Chattanooga's known for their malts. Yeah.
And New Riff's more known for their. As Ken Lewis told us in a tour of the while back, their rye, who built their rye up against anybody else's, and I don't disagree with them. So
yeah, but they've certainly come a long way with all their other things.
They sure have
too. So they're all good whiskey. All right, so moving on. So next is Altamar Brands has released a limited edition of High and Wicked Warlander blended straight whiskey as part of a collaboration with artist and pro skier Chris Benchetler. The whiskey blends 3- and 4-year-old Kentucky Straight rye and bourbon whiskeys, uniting the fruit-forward and baking spice notes of the rye with the depth and spice of high rye bourbon. After blending, it was rebarreled for over 2 months in a mix of the ex-bourbon and ex-rye casks, which originally contained the component whiskeys, to encourage deeper integration of flavor. It's bottled at 99 proof, and this bold layered expression retails for around $55 and features Benchetler's original label artwork. Warlander is available online and in select U.S. markets. I usually don't include the marketing lingo in my summaries, but somehow that slipped in there.
Right. This is an interesting product to me. I mean, it's I found out that they slow proof it for whatever that's worth, right? So they proof it down. I checked out the mash bills and the actual components of the blend. It's like 50% 4-year-old rye, which is 91% rye, 9% malted barley, 33% 3-year-old rye with the same mash bill, and then 17% 4-year-old bourbon with 51, 39, 10 mash bill. And so I don't know. I'm curious where they had these distilled or where they found them, because I don't recognize a 91.9 rye mash bill off the top of my head. You might, but
well, they used to. I mean, I don't know. Their bottles may say. I mean, some of high and Wickeds were distilled at New Riff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I find these interesting because not many people not many bigger brands, especially, are releasing a 3-year-old.
4-year-old, yeah. And I mean, for a rye, a 3-year-old rye can be just fine. It ages a little bit differently than a bourbon, but yeah, these are young, on the youngish side.
So it's a little unusual.
And the rebarreling process, that's an interesting concept too, to put it back in the same barrels. It sounds like, and so will that make it seem older? I don't know. I mean, I don't know anybody who's, I've seen finishing barrels, but I haven't seen anybody rebarrel it in the same.
Well, Angel's Envy just did it.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, it might have been with that double malt, the 2 grain.
Okay.
I think that's the one that went back into its own barrels after it was proofed down to let it mingle.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I love the experimentation that's going on.
Well, it's a good way not to spend extra money because.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, and the interesting thing is, because we had this discussion with Angels, and what does it do to the age statement? Because now you're not exactly. They're not new, but they're not really used because they're the barrels
they're the same ones, right?
That it came from, right? So does the clock still keep moving forward? Interesting, but yeah, and so I mean, given their age, it makes their price a little high, I guess. 3 and 4 years,
a little
55.
But it's not. It's in the grand scheme of things, it's not out of reach, right?
No, yeah, interesting, but yeah, I don't know. In these days of ever increasing age at this price point, I thought 3 and 4 was a little unusual.
Mm-hmm.
But, all right, moving on. The World Whiskey Society has launched the Henry Derringer American Single Malt Aged 8 Years, a cask strength whiskey honoring the 19th century inventor of the pocket pistol. Bottled around 61. Their words were around 61%. I don't know why. Yeah, I suppose it had decimal points that they're dropping. So 122 proof. The whiskey reflects the craftsmanship and precision inspired by Henry Derringer's legacy. The release marks the latest addition to the World Whiskey Society's Western Collection and retails for around $100. It is currently available through the World Whiskey Society online shop and select retailers nationwide. And I do like World Whiskey Society's whiskeys, but they're always rather sparse on the details, so we don't know much more about where this whiskey came from, what exactly it is. I
couldn't even find it on their website because I wanted to see the packaging because, in addition to finding good whiskeys, they have some of the most unique packaging I've ever seen. And because this is, for Henry Derringer, I assume they're going to have some packaging, some special packaging for it, right? I mean, they had another, I think it was a Doc Holliday, I could be wrong, but, there's a makeup pistol and stuff that came with it. And so.
But there is that other Derringer one that comes, I don't know who, it's not them that makes it. You've probably seen it in stores where it comes with like the Derringer cap, or I don't know.
There's some take.
So I wonder if there's a copy trademark thing to do that.
I bet it's expired. It's old enough for Derringer, but
no, with that other whiskey.
Oh yeah.
Because their packaging, they could have trademarked that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that was World Whiskey Society because I'm pretty sure it was a brand I was not familiar with.
Yeah, I remember seeing that briefly on the shelf.
Yeah,
but I don't think it was World Whiskey either. It's hard. You don't see World Whiskey stuff on the shelf very often. I mean, I don't.
So. No, I mean for the most part, I think it gets ordered from their websites. Yeah, occasionally you see them in stores. But yeah, I mean their whiskeys are good. I just wish they'd give us more information. All right. Speaking of information, so moving on to Templeton. Templeton Distillery has released its first rye whiskey, distilled, aged, and bottled by the brand in Iowa. Templeton Single Barrel Rye is crafted from a 95.5 mash bill, aged 6 years in new American oak barrels, and bottled at cask strength, 117.1 proof. Each limited release 750 milliliter bottle is priced at around $50.
And I'm not that familiar with Templeton's product, so I poked around their website a little bit. I mean, they have other ryes, and I assume that's ryes they've sourced, or they just didn't, or they're younger perhaps than this one. But great price point for the age, and I'd like to try it and see what it tastes like.
Well, I think this is the first one that they've completely distilled. I mean, it was years ago when they got in big trouble with the internet for claiming grandfather's recipe kind of thing, and then turning out they were sourcing it all, but not being forthcoming, and it really hurt their reputation for quite some time. So, and probably still. Frankly.
I was going to say, yeah,
but
I was not aware of that, but yeah, that kind of stuff can really undermine what you're doing.
So it's interesting that now, after all this time, they're releasing a non-sourced product. Yeah, I mean, be interesting to try. I guess I haven't had too many of their things.
No, I haven't either. But, I'm always interested to try a 95.5 rye and a single barrel that's a little bit higher proof. So those are the kind of things that appeal to me.
Yeah. Well, should we talk about this rye? Well,
I think we should. So we've got a more local, a Kentucky rye with our friends down at Wilderness Trail. So.
Yes. So our friend Haley was nice enough to bring over some of these 6-year-old bottles last night to our little tasting we had at my house. Mm-hmm. And this rye was very unique. It's a 6-year, 1 month single barrel, and it had very unique flavors. I mean, it has like almost a mesquite smoke character to it.
It really did. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's and I don't think I've ever found that in a rye before. It had some of the same, traditional, I can think of traditional rye flavors to it, some mintiness, some grassiness. But then, you got that woody, mesquite-y flavor, both on the palate and on the finish.
Which was pretty dominant. I mean, it didn't. Mm-hmm. It was much lighter on those other traditional rye flavors. But Wilderness Trail, I don't know how many people out there have had their single barrels, because now their regular release, so this was at 111.6 proof, but now their regular release is a small batch, so you don't get all these unique flavors that came out of their single barrels. But their single barrel ryes have always been fantastic.
I've got some that were just, when they first turned, I think, did they release some before they were 4 years old? They might have.
No, I don't think so, because weren't they bottled in? Well, no, because they were.
The ryes were
barrel proof.
Bourbons were bottled in bond, but I mean, some of their early ryes were just lovely, and I've still got
the small batch. The new version is bottled in bond, isn't it? The small batch version.
I believe it is. Yes.
But so the ryes came out all as single barrels initially, and they were hugely variable in everything, and they used a really low. Well, they experimented with barrel entry proof back then, so
a lot of them were lower though.
Yeah, and they settled on really low. I think they're like 105, 103, maybe.
I think that's right.
Like 100. So you get a lot of flavors, and then the whiskey itself would range from, I think I've had from like 100 proof naturally to 121 point something was one of the highest ones.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen anything above 100, say 25. Yeah. So they don't have any mega high proofs, but really good drinking whiskey. A lot of flavors in the single barrels, and I think we're going to see more 6-year products from them now.
Well, that's what it sounded like. I mean, these are the sort of the prototypes of the and 6-year barrel picks are going to become a thing.
A thing there, right? Yeah. So when you go and you can, because they've got a pretty robust barrel pick program.
Yeah.
If I remember, you can even get like quarter barrels and things like that. So that's
well, and we just saw the post of Justin's House of Bourbon just did a barrel pick, which I believe was a 6-year.
Mm-hmm. So more options for great bourbon here in Kentucky.
Yep. All right, moving onward. Okay, so speaking of Kentucky, we have Jeptha Creed Distillery in Shelbyville, Kentucky, has unveiled the 4th edition of its Red, White, and Blue Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, an annual release honoring veterans and active military members, as well as the distillery's opening on Veterans Day 2016. A portion of proceeds will be donated to the nonprofit Paws of War, whose mission is to alleviate the suffering of veterans, first responders, and their families, particularly those battling invisible wounds, such as post-traumatic stress disorder, by providing loyal service dogs that serve as both companions and catalysts for healing. The nonprofit also rescues and rehabilitates dogs and cats in need. And I was not familiar with this nonprofit, but it sounds pretty good. Mm-hmm. Distilled from a 4-corn mash bill of 25% bloody butcher corn, 25% heirloom white corn, 25% Bruce's blue corn, and 20% malted rye and 5% malted barley, this bourbon is bottled at 100 proof and sold in 750 milliliter bottles for a suggested retail price of around $75. It will be available beginning November 8, 2025 in the distillery's gift shop, online, and at select retailers in 40 states. To celebrate the release, Jeptha Creed will host a Veterans Day tribute event on November 8th, featuring a color guard ceremony, guest speakers, bottle signings, and more. And those details can be found on their website. And just a little caveat for that mash bill. I got that off the website, so that was probably last year's. I've not got a confirmation that it's the exact same mash bill for this year.
Right. But you're going to get those 3 different corn varieties no matter what, and maybe a slightly different proportion. But I think that's a neat concept. And it's always good to honor our veterans. Jeptha Creed, I believe, is a veteran-owned facility. I could be wrong about that, but I think they always have a Veterans Day event at the distillery.
Yeah, they definitely do that. I'm not sure about the veterans-owned part, but they definitely do support the veterans. And I believe these barrels, I can't remember now, but maybe you remember. The barrels that went into this, I think when veterans and first responders visit, they're invited to sign barrels that then get used in these blends every year, because there's a list. I think you can look up your barrel and see what it's wound.
That's neat.
Up in. Yeah. So I know I read more about that a number of years ago, but I think it's something like that. So I don't think I'm saying something that incorrect.
Right. Sure. I know that's not true. So, yeah, I mean, it's again, just supporting the charity, giving back to the community.
Yeah.
Jeptha Creed is good at that. And I think they're getting a reputation for, occasionally they have entertainment, and not just ceremonies like this, but like, several bands, weekend entertainment. So again, they're working both the tourism part and the bourbon part. So.
Yeah, I think they were doing like an outdoor concert series in the summers. I
think so.
I know they did that some years. I honestly don't, it's a little far for us to drive for a night thing.
Right.
So it's not really on my radar. So I don't pay attention to those events, and I know they've used to have a brunch. I wonder if they still have that.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, they
do have all.
They had a wide variety of tourist centric events there, so that's good.
So for people in the area, definitely check them out, because all the information will be on their website and socials. And honestly, their whiskey's, I think, getting very good.
Mm-hmm.
Have you?
As I haven't tried it recently, but as it gets older, I've heard better things about it.
Well, did you try our barrel picks at the KBF? Because we picked 2 barrels there. They were both great.
I did not. Yeah, there's so many things to try at KBF.
I know.
That, you have to limit what you can do. So, well, I'll do that one of these. I know you have a bottle someplace. So,
we're probably around, I'm sure. All right, so moving on. So, I probably should have put this one earlier because it's sort of related. So, Town Branch Distillery in Lexington has released the second installment of its archive series, the 16-year Bottled-in-Bond Kentucky Single Malt Whiskey. This single barrel expression is bottled at 100 proof and carries a suggested retail price of $400 for a 750 milliliter bottle. The archive series was introduced in 2024 as a collection of rare American single malts from Town Branch, each age stated a single barrel and bottled under bond. Volume 1 featured a 15-year-old release. Yeah. So this release, Volume 2, continues the series, but it only has 57 bottles. So, I mean, it's $400, so they may last for a little while, but that's not a lot of bottles.
No, it's not. And, it's 16 years old, right? So we know we're going to get declining yields at that point. So, interesting single malt project again. And Town Branch, founded by Pierce Lyons, has a stronger roots in malts, right, than bourbons, because they do an Irish whiskey, they do these single malts, and they've got
we own a distillery over there.
Yeah, I was surprised at the variety of products that they are putting out now. So this would be a very special release. If you're looking to find a very unique aged single malt made here in Kentucky, this is the one. Just good luck with the 57 bottles.
Yeah. Well, and for people that aren't distilling, so they're part of Lexington Brewing and Distilling, so they make the whole line of beers as well as their lines of whiskeys. And the distillery was really built more to be a single malt type distillery. It's got this big Forsyth pot stills. So they've actually, it's been sort of on the more quiet side because Kentucky is much more bourbon centric, but they've been making these single malts since the beginning. So the fact they have these older ones is not surprising. And really, as Dean was saying, I mean, that was sort of what this distillery was set up to do. I think bourbon was just more because you're in Kentucky, but the single malts were what they wanted to do. And I tasted that 2000, the last year one, which was apparently 2024 that I tasted in 2025, and the 15-year-old, and it was just fantastic, I thought. So I suspect this to be really good. And, I mean, that price tag's probably reasonable for something with only 57 bottles. And how many 16-year-old Bottled-in-Bond American single malts are there?
Can't be that many.
Probably the only one. So.
And it's $750, not a $700, right? So you got that going for it. But yeah, I mean, it's a unique product, right? There's only a certain market for a $400 bourbon, let's be honest. But it's not a bourbon. It's a single malt, and it's 16 years old. So
I mean, single malt prices can be absolutely insane, so it's really a bargain.
That's right. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think it's reasonable for what it is. The rarity is...
It'll be interesting, as time goes on, the collectible whiskey market has been pretty resilient, and this could end up being a very collectible issuance, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. There aren't many to start with, right? And as American single malts grow and get better reputations, who knows what could happen with this one. So,
well, you never know. I mean, I think it's extremely difficult to predict what might be worth collecting. I mean, if I were to buy it, I will probably be opening it because the last one was just so good, and it's not like it's so limited. You're not going to have the opportunity to pretty much try it anywhere.
No.
So
right.
The only way really is to buy it. I mean, you get a pour of it there, I'm sure, but I don't know how much they're going to be pouring. I mean,
I was going to say I don't know if you could. I mean,
their price will be very high because you're not going to want to pour through it. I mean,
it's got to be
can't pour more than a couple bottles.
Right. I wouldn't, maybe they set two aside and charge $100 a pour. Who knows?
Yeah, because otherwise it'd disappear. And then,
right.
Yeah. So, all right. So next, moving on to Shaughnessy Distilling Company in Minneapolis, Minnesota. They're releasing their first self-distilled whiskey, Keeper's Heart American Pot Still Whiskey. There are few details available, but from their Cask Society page, it appears to be made from a mash bill of 50% malted and 50% unmalted barley, and is triple distilled and aged in American oak casks. I've enjoyed the prior Keeper's Heart releases that I've had. There's actually a bunch of them sitting there. I mean, some of them are blended with bourbon, some are blended with rye. They've also had actual unblended Irish whiskeys with anything at a higher age statement as well, and they've all been really good. So this will be interesting to try.
Yeah, I have not tried any of their products, so I'd be interested to try something like that. And I didn't even know that they existed up in Minneapolis, but it'd be see how
actually a big place. It'd be cool to visit.
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to be widely distributed at all, unfortunately.
Right. It looks like they have a little launch party, and maybe it's a distillery only kind of thing. So,
yeah. So that's unfortunate. We probably have to go to Minneapolis.
It releases on November 21st, so we have time, right?
Yeah. I hear Minneapolis is nice in late November.
We could hitchhike. Yeah.
Good time of year.
Right.
All right. So
that was a lot.
It's
still busy out there, folks.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. So for November, I mean, there shouldn't be too many more. Shouldn't be lists like this, I wouldn't think, but I wouldn't have thought that still. So
I know.
Yeah, quite a bit. All right. Well, I guess that about does it for this episode. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of the Bourbon Obsessed New Bourbon Releases podcast, your commercial-free and therefore money-free bourbon podcast. Please be sure to join us next Monday for our Bourbon and Distillery News podcast, where I think we already have quite a few news stories, and we're going to be talking about a lot of these financial things.
Yes.
But we'll keep it interesting. As interesting as we can.
Who knows what will happen in distillery bankruptcies between now and then, too. So.
True. We have not revisited them lately.
Yeah.
Also, be sure to like and follow us at your preferred podcast provider so that you don't miss an episode. And don't forget to tell all your friends, too. You can also head over to bourbonobsessed.com to check out some of our over 350 bourbon reviews and over 50 distillery write-ups. While you are there, you can also sign up to have my newsletters delivered directly to your inbox. Finally, I can be found on Instagram at bourbon_obsessed and on Facebook at bourbon obsessed, and would love for you to follow me there as well. Dean, where can they find you?
People find me on Instagram at Dean of Bourbon with underscores with occasional postings. I don't do it as a full-time thing, but just want to encourage our folks, whatever kind of whiskey you drink responsibly.
and coffee cheers.
Cheers.
Take care, folks. See you next time.
Bye-bye.